All right, people, we're back. Back on our schedule. Video I bring you now. I'm gonna be talking about some things, current, present day, in the Robeson County Sheriff's Department, but it involves the jail. Now, the Robeson County Jail falls up under the Robeson County Sheriff's Department. So the sheriff is in charge of the jail, and he's responsible for the safety of the inmates. He's also the boss of the correctional officers in the jail. So we get into some stories. Two of these stories happened while I was incarcerated in the Robeson County Jail unjustly. And I get into some things about that. One thing, it's overcrowded. Two, they keep you, if certain people, and I've yet to figure out the whys and the whos and why certain people stay in there so long. But certain people, they hold in jail, no court date. I mean, you'll have a court date, but your lawyer appear on your behalf. So you'll never have a day in court. I was in the cell with a fella. He had been in jail for 36 months on a charge that he could have pled guilty to for 5 years. So if he'd have pled guilty immediately upon entering the jail, he would have went to prison and already been home before I ever met him in jail. And then that's a tactic they use, and I mean, they got to be working in tandem with the district attorney's office, because what will happen is they'll hold you, they'll overcharge you, they'll charge you for something that they know they can't convict you of. Like whatever your charge is, they charge you above it. Then they'll hold you in jail to the charge below what they charged you with. Well, they'll hold you to a time that will equal the charge up under what they charge you with. And then offer you a plea deal for time served. Of course you're going to sign it. So they're basically padding the stats when it comes to that. And it's in the same line with Joe Freeman Britt. We've seen some videos with Joe Freeman Britt already. So we'll jump into this first story. This is Stephen Hunt. And this happened while I was in the Robeson County Sheriff's Department, the jail.
Investigation is underway after a Lumberton man was found dead in a cell at the Robeson County Detention Center. Stephen K. Hunt was found on Wednesday. Officials say he'd been at the center since March 4th and was to get transferred to the North Carolina Department of Prisons. The North Carolina State Bureau of Investigations is investigating, which we're told by the Robeson County Sheriff's Office is standard procedure.
Okay, you see that happened March 11th of 2021, and I was in December 2020. I went in the custody of the Robeson County Sheriff's Department in their jail. And Stephen Hunt, the story they just showed you there, well, that ain't the original story that they told. The original story they told a couple days after they found him dead was that he died of the Mexican beer the a certain kind of virus. First they claim that that's what he died from. And then after that, they claimed he died of they claim he died from complications with withdrawals. And then ultimately they agreed that he died of an overdose. Okay, now let's poke some holes in this story. Number one, the cell I was in, about approximately 2 weeks after this incident, a guy came into my cell, and he was addicted to fentanyl. Well, lo and behold, what happened was he was detoxing, so he went into what they call a medical cell. That's where you detox at, and there's only 2 people in that cell. He was in there, and then probably 2 days after he was in there, Stephen K. Hunt came into that medical cell. So this guy that came in the cell with me was already further along in his detox. So he wasn't throwing up no more. He wasn't having bowel movements anymore uncontrollably. But Mr. Hunt was. So they got into an altercation. This is the real death story. This is really the way the fella died. They get into an altercation, and he beats up Stephen Hunt. Well, he's aware, because like I said, he's further along in his detox. He's aware of what's going on, and he knows by them having an altercation and fighting, the guards is going to come. So he's ready with his mattress. When the guards come, the first thing they do, they mace everybody in the cell. So he's ready for that, and he covers up so he doesn't get maced in his face. But Mr. Hunt does. And then Mr. Hunt's mad because basically he just got beat up, and then for getting beat up, he gets maced. So he takes it out on the guards, and he gets into an altercation now with the guards. Well, what you'll find out in the Robeson County Jail, you don't fight the guards. They're gonna beat you, and they're not gonna beat you fair. They're not gonna beat you while you're cuffed. No, what they do is they'll put you in what they call a 4-point restraint. Hogtied. And they're going to strip you down to no clothes first. Strip you down butt naked. 4-point restraint, which is shackles on the legs, cuffs on the arms, connected behind your back. Like I said, hogtied. Your feet and your hands is behind your back, connected in cuffs. Then what they're convinced of doing is they kick you in 3 places: your butt, your gut, and your mouth. Now, these cats was in medical cell, so I'm pretty sure they probably didn't kick the man in the mouth. But I know they kicked him in his butt and his gut. They're not going to kick you in the ribs, in the gut, in the soft tissue. They kick you in your soft tissues. That way it's hard to find a bruise. But they do that. Then each guard that's there, whoever you got an altercation with, they empty their mace can in your face while you can't move. And that's what they did to this fella. and they threw him in a cell and left him for the next shift. That's how they do it. Multiple people did this, had this done to them that I didn't see the entire thing, but I saw the beginning and the aftermath of the 4-point restraint, or the beatings that you'll get in the sheriff's department. So it's the first death that happens while I'm there. This is the second.
The sheriff's office says the woman was 37 and found dead a little after 5 o'clock this morning. Right now, we don't officially know her name nor how she died, but the sheriff's office says she was booked yesterday on a failure to appear in court warrant. The North Carolina SB.
Okay, you see that? You heard that. The lady, she OD'd, and according to the sheriff's department, another inmate brought in the fentanyl. So that's two. That's two people that OD'd. But listen, the one guy right after that, the State Bureau of Investigations came in and the Federal Bureau of Investigations came in. I visually saw both entities. So this happened while investigations going on in the sheriff's department. So how does an inmate get in there with fentanyl? Well, we'll keep watching these stories and we'll see how. Because the people that they trust with the lives of citizens of Robeson County, of citizens of the United States, of people that, because this is the thing, if you can't house a person without them dying, then you have to let them go. That's 101 when you're talking about housing. This is people that not guilty. These is people that's not guilty. You get what I'm saying now? Now I'll say this about Stephen Hunt. Stephen Hunt was on his way to corrections. He was on his way to prison. So I don't even dive into his case, because no matter what he did, he didn't deserve to get beat to death and suffer. You understand? So that being said, everybody in there is pre-trial. For the most part, most people in there is not in there for convictions. So if anything happens to a person that's innocent, because it's innocent until proven guilty, right? I find anybody innocent getting beat up, anybody innocent dying, to be a crime, and it's criminal, and people should be charged for it. But the right people, I'm telling you, the right people won't be charged for it, and we'll get into it.
Action with the arrest of this man right here. This is James Hunt Jr. Authorities say that Jackie Hunt, Warren Phillips, and Tina Jones face felony conspiracy to identity theft, aiding and abetting, and obstruction of justice charges. The sheriff's office says James Hunt Jr. was arrested after a traffic stop on March 25th. But deputies say at the time of his arrest, he identified himself as Jackie Hunt, who is his brother. Authorities say he was later booked into the detention center and released on bond under the fake name, even though the 3 detention officers knew his real name. Jackie Hunt, Phillips, and also Tina Jones, they each got $500,000 bonds. James Hunt faces additional charges of identity theft and providing false information.
All right, now, okay, you see that? This happened 4/20/2022. This happened 4/20, April 20th, 2022. And what I'll tell you is this. That James Hunt, I can't verify it and say yes, it's a fact, but the guy that was in the medical cell with Stephen Hunt, that got into the altercation with him, he said the initial aggressor of the guards that beat up Mr. Hunt was none other than it's Jamie Hunt. Now you'll say, oh, well, it's a criminal or somebody been charged with a crime against an upstanding citizen, a jailer. Well, here you go. Here you go. Now he's a criminal. So who we believe now? It's a criminal versus criminal, right? It's people charged with crimes versus charged with crimes. So who we believe in? You see that he doesn't take his job seriously and he commits crimes, allegedly, while on the clock. So now who do we believe? Now who do we believe? Whose story is verified? And another thing I'll tell you, they held this story. They held this story for 2 days, and I'm going to tell you why. Rogue Nation, NC Tyrant Hunter, and Press On, Press Harder were visiting Robeson County at the time. And if you queue up the videos that they did, and you see the date, this here fell just a little bit after that, but it happened at the same time that they were there. And the sheriff kept it shh till he felt like they were gone. So believe me, they watched these videos. That's why I got this mask on, baby.
Former Robeson County Detention Center officer facing 2 felony charges for allegedly sneaking a cell phone to an inmate. Officers found that phone yesterday on that inmate who's serving time now on first-degree murder charges at the Robeson County Detention Center. Authorities arrested former officer Stacy Hunt, charged her with conspiracy and more. The inmate, Jonathan Mack, charged with felony conspiracy and possession of a phone. Mack was also given a $50,000 bond.
Now you see this one. This lady never was on my haul, so I can't say nothing about her. But the fella, I do know him, and I do a little backstory on him. He was a football prospect. He had speed, and he definitely had the size. The man's like 6'4", 6'5", 320. You know what I mean? He's a big young'un. But he blew out a knee, man. You know, talented fella, talented young man, and God blessed him with the size to be an NFL football star. That's a tragic story. But see, they say he's in there convicted for murder, but charged with murder. But that's not the charge that's got him in there right now. It is, but it's not. He was on bond for a murder charge, and the fella I was telling you about had been in there so long without seeing the judge. These two fellas was co-defendants, and everybody calls my man there Jug. That's his nickname. That's his name on the streets, Jug. Jug, for the most part, I don't know. I thought he was a nice guy, you know, but then he's got a murder charge, you know what I'm saying? And then they had another charge, but see, this goes to show you. Everybody they say is in charge, and they swear these oaths and so goody. Well, you see, it's prime examples of what happens when you give these people authority and you turn your back and say, oh, they're doing the right thing. See what happens. You see what happens. So this happened in May. So it's right behind that situation with the checking in of the guy with the false name. And I'm willing to bet that it all happened at the same time, that they just fudged records where it looked like it was spread out, and they had, they had to go ahead and charge the fellow with something that was in there, and woo, they threw Miss Lady under the bus with that, because they booked her. Everybody else didn't get booked. You'll see, there's a lot happens, but baby girl there got booked. But that's what happens when you supposed to be in charge, supposed to do the right thing, and you don't. So watch this one.
2 former Robeson County Detention Center officers have been charged in connection to the death of an inmate.
Larry Jones and Robbie Page were both charged with failure to discharge duties. In March of 2021, Stephen Hunt was found dead in his cell at the Robeson County Detention Center. An autopsy revealed Hunt died from a fentanyl overdose.
Now, an investigation determined that Jones and Page violated state-mandated procedures for monitoring inmates. They both resigned from their positions prior to being charged. Both were given a $10,000 bond.
Boom. Now you see, this is what I was talking about. And I'm going to poke holes into this story as well. I think these fellas took somebody took one for the team. And here's how I'm going to tell you it happened. Crews run day shift and night shift and weekend shift. That's always on a swing shift. So whoever working this weekend, that crew, it'll be the crew, it'll be the captain, it'll be the sergeant and the crew. It's alternating. Right? So this week, this Saturday it'll be this crew, this Saturday it'll be another crew. Boom, boom, vice versa. Okay. Larry Jones had a crew. And Larry Jones was the crew that you didn't try. If you had smoke, you didn't smoke on Larry Jones' crew. Now the fella before got caught with the identity theft, Phillips. Now if you wanted to smoke, you smoked on Phillips' crew. And it's nighttime, not daytime, nighttime, night shift Phillips' crew. That's when you, whatever you had, cigarettes, whatever you was gonna do, party-wise, do it on Phillips' crew. Because it wasn't the fact that one was harder and one was softer. Phillips just, if you wasn't fighting, if you wasn't hurting people, if people wasn't getting hurt, he didn't mind you drinking your little buck. He didn't mind you smoking your little weed. He didn't mind you smoking your little tobacco. But don't do nothing else stupid. You know what I mean? Don't start fighting. Don't, you know what I mean? Don't be loud. Don't be doing. That was his thing. Larry Jones, they was that crew. They was hard chargers. They charged. They was aggro. They looked for fights. You know what I'm saying? Not necessarily saying Larry Jones, but his crew. Cause Larry Jones and Phillips was kind of in the same mode of, cool, talk to you with respect. Didn't really want to do more than they had to, so they didn't want you to do what would push them into hurting. You know what I'm saying? That type of thing. But same way with the other guy, Page. He was a fairly decent fella. He catched them boys every time with buck. I don't know why they would do it, but they would put it in their paper bag and they put it up under this particular bunk and just leave it. I mean, no concealment whatsoever. I seen Page walk out of our cell over 4 times with a bag, a buck up under his arm, and never put charges on nobody. So I'm not gonna say he's a good guy, but I'm not going to say he's an evil person as well. But I know for a fact that they're not responsible for that fella. Now they might be responsible for the disciplinary things and for not watching the people that was up under them, but they're not the ones that beat that fella, I'm telling you. One, they're on 2 different shifts. Page's day shift, Larry Jones's night shift. The dude passed in between. According to them, they said it's 5. But night shift had to beat him, because night shift, like I say, hard charges. Jamie Hunt was on Larry Jones's. He was on Larry Jones's squad. He wasn't on the day shift. The day shift found the fella. The night shift left him, maced him, left him naked in the cell. Day shift found him. Right? Day shift found him. So I think these fellas was on the edge of retirement, retired, and then got charged. I think they saved people from catching a murder rap, is what I think. But I put all blame on the sheriff. I put all the blame on the sheriff. I put it all on him. I put it all on him. So here comes this next story. This is the last story, and then I'll recap it after this one.
An overdose inside the Robeson County Detention Center. Says he's doing his own investigation into her death.
Deputies say a detention center guard is charged in connection with that woman's death. ABC 15's Tanya Brown talked with the lawyer. She's live from outside the Robeson County Detention Center. Tanya?
Connor, the attorney says the family had such high hopes that jail could be the answer to their loved one's problems. He's now investigating to learn just how often drugs get inside the detention center. There's a huge sign outside the Robeson County Detention Center that greets visitors right at the front door. It tells you that contraband isn't allowed inside. But last month, drugs made their way inside the jail. Deputies say 41-year-old Vicky Howell died at the hospital several days after overdosing at the detention center. Officers say another inmate overdosed too, but survived. Howell's family attorney, Wade Bird, is troubled by what happened.
Of course, I was shocked. And the fact that 2 different people were injured, one was killed.
Deputies charged former jail guard, 25-year-old Very Diana Tapia, with possession of a controlled substance in a detention center and providing contraband to an inmate. Last March, deputies say Stephen Hunt died of a fentanyl overdose while incarcerated at the detention center. 2 guards are charged with failing to monitor Hunt as required by state law. I reached out to Robeson County Sheriff Bernice Wilkins about the overdoses and drugs in the jail. He says they have a full body scanner that detects threats that an inmate may hide in his clothing and inside body cavities. Wilkins says, quote, "We are in the process of looking over our policy and maybe making adjustments in which all persons entering the detention center, to include employees, medical staff, attorneys, and others, will be required to enter the body scanner before being allowed access." The attorney for the family of Vicky Howell says her family hoped that her time in jail would help her.
So the mother of 8 children is dead by virtue of ingesting poison.
Bird says Howell was in jail for failure to pay child support. Live in Lumberton, Tanya Brown.
You see that? Once again, guard bringing in contraband. This time, we see. They try to. You hear the sheriff. He's trying to say that inmates is bringing in. We got this fancy machine and they're beating the machine. No, it ain't beating the machine. It's sure people. It's sure people. And then they try to say lawyers, and we don't get visitors. We visit through FaceTime, a machine. That's our visits in there. I never got a visit there because I never put my information on that kiosk to be able to talk to anybody, be able to text anybody. I straight did phone calls because me and my mind, You got that email, blah, 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 blah. I'm not giving that to them. You know what I'm saying? They already did me dirty. So I didn't want to put it. So that's visit. And another thing they do with the visiting, I'm going to get to the story. Another thing they do with the visits, you can't get a visit during mealtime. You know why? They don't want you to be able to show your family what they're feeding you in there. Because they got one day, it's called the Spoon Shaker Day. It's literally rice and tomatoes. It's rice and tomatoes is a dish for poor people in the South. It's I guess it's kind of like beans and rice for Hispanic people, but it's tomatoes and rice, and that's the meal: tomatoes and rice, like one spoon of tomatoes and rice, and a sausage patty. And then like corn and some kind of crappy dessert. That's the worst tray. That's the worst tray. And I hope people see this and get that tray out, though, because I would not feed that to an animal. And I mean, you people can say, well, they're in prison, but like I said, these people, prisoners eat better than that. I say that. People in prison eat better than that. And I don't take up for criminals. You know what I'm saying? I don't say, but the thing about it is, if you read the Constitution, these people aren't guilty yet, for the most part. Now, you got people in their own holds, and people in there coming from prison for another trial, but that may be 4 or 5 people at maximum, at the maximum. Because DOC, they want their money. So they get you out there and get you in their prison. They want that money. Because what you got to realize, you're valuable. Us as taxpayers, we pay for them people. Like the Robeson County Sheriff's Department, I'm not too sure, and I might be talking out of turn, but I think it's $25 a day we pay for each inmate in Robeson County Sheriff's Department. And then what you got to figure is if you can get it down to where it's a couple of cents for water, a couple of cents for electricity, a couple of cents between each guard for each prisoner, and then you feed each prisoner $1 worth of food a day. I mean, you get with my drift. You're creating an excess of funds off the backs of the taxpayers. That's why they and I'm telling you, that jail is packed. It's packed. Okay, but let's get back to the story. So you got a guard that's convicted. My bad. That's charged with bringing fentanyl to the prisoners. I saw drugs come in. I never saw fentanyl when I was in there. And I was in a cell with movers and shakers. They had everything but fentanyl. Now what that tells me is, number one, they didn't want it. Let's be honest. And number two, it's hard to get it. Now, I know several ways you can get it, and I'm pretty sure the sheriff knows, but y'all got to see the sheriff there, right? So if we go back and look at one of our videos where we talk about Jimmy Earl Cummings, if we can think back to Hubert Stone's son, Kevin Stone, killed a fella. Documented he killed a fella named Jimmy Earl Cummings. Well, there was 3 people on the scene that night. It was Kevin Stone, Jimmy Earl Cummings, and our wonderful sheriff, Bernice Wilkins. Bernice Wilkins was a deputy. He rolled with Kevin Stone. They were both in the car together. He testified that Jimmy Earl Cummings swung a bucket at Kevin Stone, and Kevin Stone had to shoot him. A bucket, a plastic bucket. He swung it at him, and Kevin Stone had to shoot him. I mean, they couldn't. The two of them couldn't have took the bucket and handcuffed the guy. Nah, they had to shoot him. He said he was too. A man that was half the size of each one of these fellas, half the size of each one of these fellas, armed with the most dangerous weapon in the world, a sheetrock bucket. And the two of them didn't have a pair of nuts between them to be able to grab the fella and take the bucket and put him in cuffs. Nah, they was hitmen. They was hitmen. And that's why I say that's who's in charge. And side note, and this is going to wrap it up. The fella I was telling you about that was in the cell with Stephen K. Hunt. The reason I can't get him to tell this story, well, upon his release from the sheriff's department and the jail, miraculously he dies. And then on his e-book for his funeral, the sheriff goes in there and types a little message. Calling cards. You gotta look for calling cards. He basically telling anybody that knows, anybody involved, I killed him to keep his mouth shut. I killed him to keep his mouth shut. There won't be a part 2 to this video. This is gonna be a one shot. Next one we're gonna go back to the tarnished badge, and then we'll leave the tarnished badge. We'll go to 2017, which a lot of the stuff go past before and after 2017, but it's the serial killer killing the young girls, the missing indigenous women, missing and murdered indigenous women in North Carolina, or Robeson County in particular. We'll do those 2 stories, and then I got some more stuff. You know, my stuff's a lot conspiratorial. I give you that. But a lot of what I saw is bathed in facts. Because I'm in the cell with people that, you know, the man ain't got to lie to me. He could. He could if he wanted to. But mighty funny that he knew this, and I witnessed this stuff. And then he's out for a couple of days and he's dead. You be the judge. I appreciate everybody signing off. One love.